Hey guys, what's up? This is Venruki from Team Complexity, making my first video here for Nerdstompers. I have a couple clips of playing with Azale and Soda as MLD against an RMP. MLD is a really strong comp right now. It's actually one of the ones me and my teammates run at MLG. And the reason for that is just because of how much crowd control you have at your disposal. And that's one of the reasons this comp is so powerful against RMP. I'm going to start off this video by giving you guys a couple of tips that you can use as MLD when you're versing RMP. First tip I can give you as a mage is you want to make the priest life as much as hell as possible. So a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll use my counterspell on the priest just as a blanket so he can't death my polymorphs if the mage counterspell isn't up, or I'll deep freeze the priest and try and get him sheeps off that so he can't death or LOS. Because as long as that priest is CC'd, that rogue pretty much isn't going to move if he's mutilate, because he's very reliant on the priestess spells in order to really do much. The second tip I'm going to give you involves communication with your team. If you're playing WoW and you want to get high ratings, you're pretty much going to need to be able to communicate with your team some way. I recommend using Skype or Ventrilo. You can just Google either one and download it for you and your team, and it helps a lot. But when playing MLD, you really need to tell your teammates what you're crowd controlling, and you need to hear what they're crowd controlling, so you can work together and make sure that you're following each other's crowd controls up, because that's really crucial. Me polymorphing off a cyclone or me polymorphing off a fear can be the difference between winning and losing a game easily, and it's a lot easier to do that kind of stuff when you can hear your team or they're calling it out. Alright, so we're getting into the first clip. The gates are about to open. One thing you're going to notice me do is I summon my water elemental and send it in to attack them. This way I'm using like the pet combat bug where I'm not going to get sapped. So me and my warlock are both running in, and my druid's a tree, so we're not going to get sapped. You notice me just pretty much run in. My main goal is to just screw with the mage and the priest as much as possible, because their main kill target is going to be my druid. Not necessarily in this game, but that's the best strategy an RMP has against MLD, is to kill the druid. So what I like to do is run in and try and disrupt the mage and the priest as much as I can in order to stop them from actually getting to my druid and getting a good opener on him. Alright, so the rogue's out. I cast Frostbolt and it gets counterspelled. That's not that bad. So now I'm just going to MCS and counterspell the priest so he can't death it. And we're going to start getting our pressure rolling on this rogue. I deep freeze him. I'm getting polymorphed right now. It's not that big of a deal. I'm going to try and follow up my follow up my crowd control and priest. The rogue cloaks and vanishes. At this point, they've done a hard opener on our druid, and he's calling that he really needs help. So I'm basically going to stop doing damage and try and just get the rogue off him, and so we can get recontrol of this game, and then we can reopen up with some pressure when they're not killing our druid so hard. Right, so I snare them, I blink in, I'm trying to CC the rogue, I'm just spamming polymorph on him over and over and over so our druid can get some distance. I Nova them all, I'm sheeping the mage here. This is the point where we're going to try and get our pressure back. The rogue has no cloak and the priest has no trinket, so if we can land a full crowd control on the priest, this rogue's in big trouble. I ice block because I didn't have many hots and I didn't want it to die. Alright, here we go. The rogue's in the open. I MCS the priest and get him in a full polymorph. I get counterspelled. The rogue's doing a really good job of running away, and our warlock is getting crowd controlled by their mage a lot, so it's basically up to me to finish this kill. I do kind of something not that smart, and I don't finish up my crowd control on the priest, but it doesn't matter that much. Soda follows it up with 2 cyclones, and I end up killing the rogue by myself, and that's the first game. One thing to sort of note about this matchup is your warlock is really at the mercy of Devour Magic when it comes to polymorphs and fears and stuff. He's going to be the one getting crowd controlled the most, and if your mage and druid can do anything to help him not get polymorphed, by either counterspelling it or crowd controlling the mage a lot, it really helps him be able to do more pressure against a team like RMP. Just something to keep in mind. Alright, getting into the second game, the gates are about to open. I run up, I'm going to try and stop them from getting to my druid the best I can. I summon my pet. I get opened up on, which is fine because killing the mage against MLD is really hard as RMP, so I'm not too worried. Soda Cyclones the rogue off me at the same time I deep freeze. It's kind of a error by me. This game I'm pretty much just going to be kiting around, trying to do as much damage as I can to the rogue while living. It's going to be up to my druid and my warlock to try and set up the kills. Just trying to keep distance from that rogue, you know, keep Kona Cold on him and my Novas and stuff and blink away when he catches up. Azel's doing a good job of fearing him off me and shadow fearing and stuff. And there's the cloak. It's really important for your warlock to, you know, fear the rogue off you. Just disrupt him as much as possible. I get counterspelled, so I can't really blink, and I'm just gonna block so I don't take unnecessary damage. I know this rogue doesn't have cloak up, so he's not gonna be able to catch me very easily. I land a full polymorph on the priest, but I get shadow feared, so that's pretty bad communication by us. He wills the fear, I short deep freeze him, and you know, we're just trying to do as much damage as we can to this rogue, and I land another polymorph on the priest. Trying to follow up Soda's Cyclone with a polymorph, and I end up having a Frostfire Bolt crit, and that's the end of the game. Not as exciting as a game, but you get to see sort of what I like to do when I get trained. Some things to sort of note about that game is, you know, we could have had a lot better communication on, especially me. Like, I should have called out that I was going to deep freeze, and Soda probably would have stopped his Cyclone, or, you know, I should have called out I was going to get that polymorph, and it wouldn't have got shadow furied. All that kind of stuff would have made the game go a lot smoother, but in the end it really didn't matter that much because, you know, my team did a really good job of helping me live and peeling for me while setting up kills. My role when getting trained is basically just to, you know, live and try and get the occasional CCs on the priest and do as much damage as I can. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, your main job against an RMP is to try and mess with the priest as much as you can with counterspell, deep freeze, and polymorphs, just so that rogue isn't getting dispelled. And make sure you're communicating with your team if you want to be really successful. You know, follow up each other's crowd controls and say who's going to spell lock what. It's really important. Remember, if you have any, you know, comments or you have some questions you want to ask me, check out nerdstomper.com. And you can always message me on there if you want to give me some tips on making videos or you have some questions about this matchups. Yeah, and until next time, see you guys later.